Hey, what's up everybody? AmpRepairGuy.com, 203-892-4119. So, I've been super busy here. Haven't really made any videos. I apologize for that. I'm also a avid four-wheeler. I have a Jeep Rubicon. I love wheeling and stuff, so I've been working on that, getting that ready for the summer. Also love roller coasters, so I've been going to Six Flags and going on all the coasters and stuff. There's lots of fun. Hate winter. Winter's so cold and stuck inside all day, so I do my work and then I do my fun stuff. So here we have a Heathkit Sb-220. Had some damage during shipping. Floor's pushed in. I'm gonna have to bend that back somehow. I might have to take the transformer out. It's like really bent down. So coils unsoldered over here. Everything else looks okay. Air variables look okay, just dusty. So I'll go through it, do all the stuff I usually do to it. Has the metering board already from Herbach, has the filter caps. I have to touch up on some solder joints on here. When I solder these together, these come as kits. A lot of people don't know that, so I always solder the joints on both sides, not just one. So I will do all that, and I'll show you the bottom. Luckily the front wasn't damaged. Shell was banged up a little bit underneath, but not too bad. Okay, so I'll be back. And here's the bottom. Customer said that the old relay was chattering on and off really fast. Then he replaced it, and now it doesn't do anything. So I'll change the cap. I need you to change the terminal strip here. Fuse holders, the circuit breakers are broken, so I'll bend this floor back down, replace the breakers. I will take these wire nuts off and solder and heat shrink the connections, ground the grids, just do everything I usually do. I'll have to diagnose what's going on here. To the BIOS mod, I'll go over everything when it's all done. So I will be back when the amplifier is completed. Also touch up on these solder joints. See you soon. Okay, I'm back with the Sb-220. I'm going to try to use my ball joint press with a brace to push the floor back into place. Disconnected the breakers, well, half of it. I had to put fuse holders in place to check the filament transformer. I wanted to make sure that the winding's okay for that fires the relay, the 90 volt winding. So I disconnected the old cap, put a new cap in for now, and passed. Filament transformer is fine. So this thing, I just wanted to point out, has tons of really bad solder joints. Like right here, this is a very important connection right here. As you can see, it's a horrible joint. Just all over the place. Let's replace this. The joints there were bad. The filament leads to the filament choke. Have to redo all of that. Just all over the place. The output network, there are bad joints on the switch, the band switch. The coil joint failed. That was loose over here that holds the filter cap assembly in. As you can see, doesn't have the internal tooth lock washer things in here, so I'm going to take these nuts out. I'll put the cap nuts in. I just have to go over everything in this thing. A lot of work. So, okay, I'm going to get to work and I'll be back. Oh yeah, lots of solder. There's seeing solder blobs. Different areas. Just loose solder. Okay, I'll be back. Yep, repairguy.com. I pulled the breakers out so you can get an idea of how bad the floor is right here. screwdriver through. That's why the breaker broke. It's all distorted right there. Box looked fine. It came in, so I don't know what happened with this thing. Didn't look like it was dropped or anything, so. Back properly. Back to work. Okay, so I removed the rear panel. I wasn't able to use my press. I had to use big pliers and other tools. Got it bent back. Straighten this up just a little bit back here. Bad solder joints on the filter cap board. Resoldered everything on this side. Had to cut back the wire, barely making a solder connection here on the transformer secondary to the filter caps. Also over here, notice he had hit the insulation with the soldering iron. That's no good. I'll have to change. It was right up against the metal. I will have to change that wire. I'm going to take this whole board out, the metering board, because really poor solder joints on both sides. So like I said, it's a double-sided board. I always make the solder joint flow on both sides, not just one. So, you know, if they were all good on one side, it'd be fine, but I can see connections where they have poor solder joints, so I'm going to have to take that out and reflow some solder into all the joints. Actually takes more time doing that than just doing it right off the bat, you know, for the first time. So, okay, I'm going to get back to that and I'll be back. Okay, so to get to the other side of the board, I had to pull the caps out, bracket out, and the whole assembly out. He didn't use the standoffs that came with the kit. These are fine. I have proper clearance, so left them. But took this all out and took it off and soldered everything nice. All the solder connection points are all soldered on this side also now. I resoldered all the wires, put a new high voltage cable in between the filter cap board and the metering board, put this series glitch resistor in, 10 ohm, 10 watt, snugged up on the nut, and I put the connector back on, and then the other nut. All of the brass nuts were finger tight, the inner ones and the outer ones, so they're all snugged up now. New meter lamp bulbs, I always spread the clip things on the socket assemblies, and I put a thin layer of silicone just to help keep them in place. Everything's zip tied. Resoldered the connection here. Did all the solder joints. So, okay, back to work. See you soon. Yeah, I don't leave any stone unturned when I work on something. So, when I went to clean the multimeter switch, kind of hard to see. Try to point at it. Looks like he or someone tried to solder that yellow wire on, and they dripped a bunch of solder on the connection down here, right here. And they actually got it on the wiper, so I'm going to try to clean that off. You know, these little things just add up with time, so okay, I will clean it off and I'll be back after. Okay, so I removed the yellow wire, cut it back, restripped it. I got the solder glob off the contact, carefully scraped off as much solder as I could off the wiper. Took the knob off, tightened the nut, so now it's nice and secure. Sprayed deoxygold on it and lift it back and forth a bunch of times, so looks good. And check for continuity between all of the contacts and the common connection for each meter selection. And she looks good, so back to work. Hey everybody, I'm back with the completed amplifier. So air variables looked good, had a lot of bad solder joints all over the place, like I said before. So clean the solder joint, band switch, solder joint right there, parasitic expressors, new plate blocking cap, resecured the fan, Meter lamp bulbs. I know I'm going over things twice, but I'm just going to cover everything again in this video. We touched up on all the solder joints, series glitch resistor, and series with the B positive. And I will flip it over. Forgot to mention, also tightened up on the nuts on the meters. Okay, so new circuit breakers. Old ones were broken. Use silver-plated Teflon, silver-plated center-stranded conductor, Teflon dielectric wire. Put some silicone under the filter caps, stop them from wobbling around. Heat shrink on the leads so they don't short against each other or the chassis. Zip tied everything nice. Redid the solder joints on the soft keyboard. Redid the solder joints on the relay. A little bit of silicone underneath. Isolate it from ground. Hold it up. I bent it up. Resoldered the clamp. Resoldered the filament connections. Grounded the grids. New electrolytic. Put cap nuts on the studs. The whole filter cap assembly had to come out to touch up on all the solder joints on the filter caps. Fix the solder joints over here. Had to fix the solder joint between the TR relay and the rotary switch. It was just barely, there was like a little blob holding it on. Clean the input and output rotary switches, deoxide gold. Check the Sb-220 connectors. Tested it on all bands. She is good to go. If you need an amplifier repaired, please feel free to give me a call. amprepairguy.com, 203-892-4119. Also fix the solder joints over here. Just, I'm missing something. I mean, I'm not covering all of them. I mean, there were a lot. There was a resistor hanging over here. Just a lot of stuff. This thing needed a lot of work. So, solder joints over here. So, okay, take care. Stay tuned for the next amp video. Oh, one last thing. Also to replace the terminal strip. So, brand new terminal strip, tighten up on the standoffs, bent the case back, was bent down really far, and so now it's good. Nice clean solder joints, and she's good. Okay, catch you later.